Good morning. This is Josh Higgins, and this is my second video in my Fender Play journal. You can find the first one on my channel. If you like it, please give it a like and subscribe because I'm hoping to turn this into a broader series, at least one video a week, hoping on Thursdays. So that's the goal, and we're going to see if I can stick to that and get a video out at least every week on Thursdays. So what I'm doing with this is I'm going through the Fender Play app. I'm currently on the Blues guide on Fender Play. It has 5 levels. Each level has many lessons. I highly recommend it if you have a desire to learn the guitar and have not taken any other forms of instruction, or if you want to brush up on some individual fundamental skills. I think it's a great place to go back, get a refresher, and then be able to continue your journey from there. So I've been playing for a couple of years, but I am by no means a skilled musician. I am certainly not a professional musician. I am a amateur hobby basement musician, but I do want to continuously improve my skills, and so I jumped on Fender Play because it looked like a program that had a lot of good videos, a lot of good quality, and I wanted to see if their lesson content matched the production quality. And so far, it has done a pretty darn decent job of it. So right now, I am on Blues Level 5. I kind of started this video about halfway through Blues Level 4. Just because it took me that long to realize that this was something that I wanted to share with others. So I am picking up there. We're on Blues Lesson Level 5. And I'm going to go through, I'm about halfway through Level 5, so I'm just going to give a brief overview of what I've gone through so far. And then the regular portion of this journal is going to start off really when I start into Rock Level 1, and I'm going to try to do very consistent videos outlining my journey through the rock set, the country set, and haven't decided if I'm going to do the folk set yet. Fingerstyle and folk fingerstyle isn't really my genre of preference, but if these videos do get any likes and these videos do get any support, I will certainly go through that section if that's what anyone else wants to see. I have no problem with that. It's only more practice for me. So that being said, let's go over through what Blues Level 5 has offered so far. So every level 1 through 5 so far has offered a warm-up exercise, which I think is a great practice. Obviously, these levels do not take a session. They do not take even 3 sessions. I've been on level 5 alone for almost a week now. Because that's just how long it takes to get through some of the concepts and especially the songs. 1 through 3 was like a lot of very basic stuff, and they did a good job of building it up, but they jumped into the end of level 4 and the beginning of level 5, and they very much ramped it up, which I appreciate. I appreciate that they acknowledge that people should be getting better at this point and that they're giving you things that you can't complete in an hour. This isn't just a, I feel good, I want to check the box and progress. It's very much goals-minded. You are progressing at a regular level, and they're giving you things to push you a little bit so that you do progress. These are not lessons you're going to get done in a day. Certainly not in an hour. If you're very good and you're just going through these just to check it out, yeah, you're going to move through them pretty quick. It's pretty basic concepts. But beyond that, yes, it's basic, but it's fundamental basic, and it's necessary basic. So please take your time with these if you go through them. Especially going back to, as I was saying, they start with a warm-up exercise, which is fantastic. But they give you 1 warm-up exercise per level. They're expecting, I assume, that you do this warm-up exercise every day that you start. This is a warm-up before you start into whatever else you're moving into. It's an excellent habit, one I don't have. So I am absolutely wholeheartedly jumping on this opportunity to learn these warm-up exercises so that I can improve myself, improve my dexterity. It prevents tendonitis. There's a whole range of reasons why to do these warm-up exercises, and I think that utilizing them and introducing them was one of Fender Play's best concepts with these lessons, to be honest. It's a very small, very simple, but very integral, I think, concept that a lot of other people kind of brush to the side or assume that people already know. From warm-ups, we went into, the next lesson was on palm muting. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to try to bring this up. So for the body of the guitar, you have the bridge, you have the four strings, goodness, apparently we're playing ukulele or bass today. For the 6 strings going over these portions called the saddles and down into the bridge. Now, if you put your palm just on where the string connects to the saddle, goes over the saddle, you can get this thuddy rock effect that you still get the tone of whatever primary note you're playing out. So this is me just playing out this power chord. I apologize right now. The sound on this is probably not going to be very good. I'm on the road right now. I do a lot of business trips. I'm not a professional musician. I'm not touring or gigging. I'm on a business trip for something completely unrelated to music. But I do bring my Fender Play and my guitar with me so that I can keep practicing, because honestly, it's just about the only thing that keeps me sane on the road. But back to what we were doing. This, hopefully you can hear this. If not, I'm working on getting better stuff. But this is a power chord just played out. This is a palm muted power chord looking like this. So you're still getting the tone of that note, but you're not, it's got a little percussion to it, it's got a little thud to it, it's got a little rock to it. If you go too far back on that bridge, you're not even on the strings at all, and it's just going to ring out open. If you are just in the right place, or the sweet spot, you're going to get that nice percussive thud, and if you're too far forward, it's just going to be muted. So that's different, truly is different on every guitar. It's always going to be just before that bridge place, but I would say there's a 1 to 2 inch margin on most guitars where you're going to be able to affect the tone of that thud, and you're going to affect how muted or how pronounced the actual notes are. So understanding where it sounds best on your guitar is just a matter of experimentation. There's no fast track to that. There's no measurement I can do to tell you where to mark your guitar or your string to tell you where you're the best palm muting. It is just practice, and it's just experimenting with your hand on the bridge to find out where it is. The second thing that we went into with this is one of the things I just demonstrated, which is power chords. Power chords are really cool, and it's why I think with level 5, even though we're still in the blues track, the songs and other things that they've done for this so far have been very much more of the blues rock or rock blues, and it's very much more hard-hitting examples. We're going more into the modern version of blues, and so, going with the 2 songs I've done so far for this level are Foghat, I Just Want to Make Love to You, and ZZ Top's LaGrange. Fantastic songs, so much fun to play. I've had so much fun with it. I'm going to demonstrate those in a moment. I'm only going to play a little bit, a very small portion of each one, because YouTube, copyright, all that wonderfulness. So next thing they went to was power chords. They went from that into diatonic chords, and then we'll go into the 2 songs. So for the power chords, there's one wonderful thing about power chords is they give you a quick and easy introduction to learning the fretboard. Because if you want to know what power chords you're playing, you have to know at least the root note. That's the only one you have to know to play a power chord, but you have to know the root note. And the root note for a power chord is wherever your index finger is going to be. So if I want to play a G5 power chord, and it's called G5 because it uses the 1st and the 5th notes of the diatonic scale, which we're getting into, or at least of the major scale, I should say. So here's the G, okay? Thickest string, 3rd fret, okay? Then my other 2 fingers, there's a 2-finger or 3-finger variant of a power chord. So for the 2-finger variant, your ring finger is just going to go down 1 string down and 2 frets up, okay? I know, one of the craziest things about the guitar is that going this way towards the ground is up, and going up towards the headstock is down. It's because of the pitch, not because of the physical geography of the guitar. If you're a beginner guitar, I'm sorry, I didn't design it, but you'll get used to it eventually. All right, so here we have our 2-finger variant, okay? If you want to, the 3-finger variant, I think, finds, it's all about the song and the style that you're doing, but the 3-finger variant gives it a little thicker sound because you're adding the octave. So I'm adding another G. So this is G, D, G. And it just, like I said, adding that extra G just gives it a little more oomph to it. And you can do that with any of them. So for an open position, if I want to use this 5th root, this A string right here, then I just hit that one open. And my next 2 fingers are going to go 1 string over. So now I'm on that D string and 2 frets up. So now I'm on the 2nd fret. And I'm going to play that with the open A string. And that's my open A power chord. And again, if I want to put my ring finger down on the next string down, and then that gives me another A and gives me that slightly thicker A power chord. So you can play those either way. They're completely interchangeable. Do whichever one sounds better to you for the song or the riff that you are doing. But either way, those are palm muting with power chords. If you want to play Green Day, if you want to play Blink-182, if you want to play any of the pop grunge or new metal, then power chords and palm muting are 2 things that you have to have down. And honestly, that's just one example of a genre. Every genre uses palm muting. Every genre at some point uses power chords. They are essential fundamentals. Not to mention, power chords are wonderful because they're great, easy substitutions. If you're trying to play a song and it's got a chord or a chord shape that you don't know, you can probably substitute a power chord into that spot and it's going to sound okay. It's not going to sound perfect, but it will sound okay enough to get you through to something that you do know. So that way you don't have to stop and stutter and be like, oh no, I don't know this, I can't play this. You can play it. Quick power chord substitution, keep moving. Okay, come back to that, learn whatever it was that you were getting tripped up on, but it gives you something that you can practice on, but you can still play through. Okay, next up was the next lesson that we did through Fender Play for level 5 was diatonic chords. I love that they went into diatonic chords because this is one of the first few times that besides when they went briefly over the major scale, that Fender Play got into music theory. And I'm an academic. I'm a theory buff. I love concepts and principles, and I'm not one of the guys that just wants to grab the guitar. I don't care how it works. I just want to play something. I have to know how it works. I have to know how something works in order to understand it and get a grasp of it, and I need to know it from the bottom going up. And if I don't, I'm just going to get frustrated because I'm going to want to know how to do something. And I can't know how to do something unless I know why that thing's happening. And if you know why, especially with music theory, especially with the guitar, it means you can play it anywhere else on the neck. If you are a beginner guitarist and you haven't gotten very far into music theory, one of the wonderful things about music theory is it opens up all the patterns on the fretboard. And that's all the fretboard is a series of patterns. And once you unlock what a couple of those patterns are, so many options open up to you. And so one of the great things about Fender Play is they did go through the major scale, they did go through the minor pentatonic scale. Both are crucial elements to starting to unlock that pattern sequence. I almost kind of wish they'd put, I understand why they put power chords here where they did, because this is, like I said, sort of the rock blues section, but I do wish they had put it earlier, because power chords really are the first things that make you start having to learn not just a pattern of which string and which fret do I need to be on, but actually making you learn the notes of the fretboard. So I wish they'd started that a little earlier, because power chords I think are really a very unintimidating way to start unintentionally learning the fretboard, because you can play them, you're like, oh, I need this power chord, oh, I know it's here, but you're learning without having to like force yourself to sit down and study it. There are a ton of very helpful fretboard learning apps. Justin Guitar does one. Fret Learn, I think, is another one that I have. There's a ton of them. Pick one that works for you. Do learn the notes of the fretboard. Do learn the shapes that help you learn the notes of the fretboard, because all of that is just going to make things easier down the road. But going back to what this lesson was covering, which was the diatonic chords. So the diatonic chords, very, very briefly, because you can get wrapped up into some very heavy theory very quickly with diatonic chord theory. The diatonic, if you took the major scale, if you don't know the major scale, Google it real quick. Cool. All right, I'm still here. So taking a look at that major scale, if you took each of the notes, so there's 7 notes plus the next octave, so 8 notes total. We're only going to focus on 1 through 7. So if you took the note 1 through 7, you can make a chord, a 3-note 1, 3, and 5 chord off of each one of those notes. So for the C, so let's take the scale in C, just real quick example. If you took the 1 note, which is the C, you took the 3 note, which is the E, and you took the 5 note, which is G. So C, E, G is a C major chord. Done. Okay? And you can go to the next one, and you can grab, oh boy, now I've got to think. All right, so that's going to be D, F sharp. Or actually, for this, it's just D, F, and A. So DFA is a D chord. Specifically, it's a D minor chord. If you want to know why it's a D minor versus a D major, please go on YouTube, go anywhere, go to Justin Guitar, look up diatonic chords and building chords. They will be able to give you a much better explanation than I will be in a short Fender Play review video. It gets, I won't say it gets complicated quickly, but it gets a lot of information very quickly. So please take a look at that. But I love that they are introducing this concept here, and I love that they're starting to talk about it. I really wish they had gone into a little more detail, and I really do wish that overall the course contained a little bit more music theory, because I feel that there's a few places where somebody like me that hadn't had any prior experience, hadn't delved into music theory at all before this, would possibly be getting a little bit frustrated with trying to figure out the whys of some of this stuff already. And it's entirely possible they wouldn't, because Fender Play has done a very good job of the pacing and keeping you interested, keeping me interested, no matter what I've been doing through this. So while I would like a little more theory in this, it's not really designed to be a theory course. It's designed to be we want to keep people interested and be able to play guitar quickly so that they stick with guitar, so our sales go up. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a brilliant strategy. I am kind of proud of Fender for coming up with this concept. They're not the first ones to do an online instructional app, but they are the first ones, I think, to see some of the broader impacts of it. So after diatonic chords, we did 2 songs. Fog Hat, I Just Want to Make Love to You, which is a great song that uses the not so much palm muting. It uses a percussive strike with power chords and shifting power chords. So what it is we're going to take a power chord, okay? So instead of doing it like this, we're doing it like this. I'm just using a single finger little bar here. So I'm just holding down strings 4 and 3 with just the tip of that finger there. Okay, so we're coming down on a sort of percussive hit, and then coming up with an 8th note. So it sounds like this. Okay, then we're coming down on that 5th string, okay, coming down to fret 3, correction, coming down to fret 5, goodness, okay, and we're playing a D power chord. It's a D power chord because my index finger is resting on a D note on the 5th fret, 5th string. Okay, hitting that once, and then moving up, hitting a C once, and then going back to that strumming a, or percussive A power chord. And then after doing that for a few bars, you can go over to a G, and then down to a G sharp, and then back into that same riff. Okay, that's all of that riff I'm going to play. 1, because I'm not very good myself, like I said, and that's about as much as I want to embarrass myself in one video for one song. 2, if you play a riff more than once, YouTube interprets it as you trying to play that song for money. And so if by some miracle this video or my channel ever actually gets enough that I can get paid for it, I'd prefer not to have all of my videos demonetized even before I get to any subscribers. So I don't even think I have any subscribers right now. I'm pretty sure I'm doing a video journal for myself, but hey, I'm having fun with it. The second part of that song is actually the bridge, which is actually really fun and really cool, but it's actually a little more difficult than the verse and chorus was. It is all on the 5th string, or 5th string. It's all on the 5th fret, on the bottom, or I don't know, top, on strings 1, 2, and 3. And it's kind of a little funk rhythm, which is kind of cool. I mean, they're really introducing a lot of concepts in this level 5. I'm really having fun with it. But you come, so it's down, give it a second, up, and then another one of those percussive strikes, and then we're just going to do a very, very quick up, down, mute, and then one more down. So overall, it sounds like this. Okay, so that's the bridge for Fog Hats, I Just Want to Make Love to You. Look them up on Amazon Music, look them up on YouTube. If you don't know that band, you don't know that song, it's a really cool rock blues classic. I'll pretty much just say it's a rock classic, but it does have some of those blues overtones and does use that minor pentatonic, which gives it that blues sound. But like I said, that's a really cool little funk strumming kind of thing. So if you're into funk, that would probably be an awesome little bridge riff to start out on, just to understand. And it's a great example of how writing down a riff or seeing a riff in tab really doesn't express the feel or the sound of that riff at all. You cannot understand, you cannot get that little riff until you play it and you feel that groove and you feel that rhythm, and it's so much fun. So the second one that I did for this level so far was ZZ Top's LaGrange. Gotta be one of the best simple rock songs. Like, it's so simple. It's literally just an A power chord and a couple of little like 5-note riffs. But it has such an impact and such a feel to it, and it's so much fun to play. This is also going to use So the Fender Play app actually breaks this down into riff 1, riff 2, a bridge section, and each one of those has little variations to an overall riff. I'm only going to play a basic version of riff 1 once. So it's going to be, again, our good old fun A power chord. Okay, we're going to go up, down, okay, and then it's eighth note strumming from here, only on the ups. So up, down, mute, up, 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 up 4 times, 0, 5, 3. So I'm sorry, you cannot play that without a smile on your face. It's impossible. As soon as you get to that down, 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 and you just go back into that riff, it's so much fun. If that's not high energy music, there is no such thing as high energy music. All right. And then you also have a bridge for this, which is really cool because it makes, this is the first time that in level 5 that they've introduced string jumping. So you're going to be going from this string all the way down. So from string 4 all the way down to string 1 and back and forth on that. And this is why this song definitely is on level 5, because that kind of string jumping consistently is a pain. So definitely something that's taken me quite a while to try to figure out. But here is generally what that's going to sound like. And that's the bridge. If you want to learn that yourself, if you want to, especially with the wonderful way that Fender does the videos followed by moving tab with a metronome, which is a fantastic way to practice, please go on, check out Fender Play's app. I'm not supported by them at all. I am doing this simply because I think the app is well done and worth your time. They have monthly and annual subscriptions. I would actually say that depending on what your interest level is and what your knowledge and skill level is at the moment, monthly might honestly be the better way to go for your pocketbook. The monthly one is per month more expensive than the annual. Obviously, they're trying to give you a small discount by going for a full annual. However, depending on what you're doing, I am not sure there's 12 months of content on this thing. I have a feeling that the first 2 to 3 levels of each of the genre sections or playthroughs are going to be very similar, and it's only going to be later in level 3 through levels 4 and 5 that they're really going to differentiate, because Fender doesn't have any idea where somebody's starting. It's not like they know everybody's going to start with blues so they can introduce, more advanced concepts with each of the following ones. No, they're going to go on there and assuming that a guy that's just picked up his guitar on day 1 is going to grab any one of these genres. So they have to teach the absolute most basic fundamentals for levels 1 and 2 of every one of the genres. So even if you want to do all 5 of the, I think 5 of the genres that Fender Play has on their app right now, once you get through the first 2 levels of one of those genres, you're going to have a lot of that repeat information for the others. So whether or not there's a full year of content, it's really depending on how you use it. The app does have a lot of other things. There's the Fender community, which it seems pretty good and seems pretty strong right now. I haven't really explored too much of that right now because I've been focused on going through these skill routes. In addition, they have another app, Fender Tune, has one of the best app tuners that I have used. However, with that, I highly recommend absolutely everyone grabbing one of these little clip-on tuners. These are absolutely fantastic, especially if you travel at all and you're taking your guitar with you. Every single change in humidity or region is probably going to detune your guitar. So please make sure you are tuning before every practice session. Otherwise, you're going to be staring at your guitar going, man, this just sounded great yesterday. I don't know why I'm doing it wrong now. You're not doing it wrong. Tune your guitar. All right, we just hit 30 minutes. I think that's about as much time as I want to give for one video. Please check Fender Play out. Please check out whether or not a monthly or an annual is best for you with the amount of content that there is. And have a nice day. Hopefully, I will see you next Thursday.